Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 153 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. In this world where more often feels like it is better, there's one place where more isn't so great, and that is our emails. You ever feel like it's this never-ending game of whack-a-mole, a feeling that no matter what you do, there's more? And maybe you've gotten to that point where you just have so many emails sitting unread that you've given up on the idea of getting to inbox zero. And for those of you who want to get to that place of zero unread emails, I've done inbox zero and have also come in and out of this strategy, and I've kept it and been consistent with it as well. So in today's podcast, we're going to share what getting to inbox zero feels like from my point of view, how to do it, and a few different approaches to think about whether or not it's right for you. All right. So I love a good strategy and I love good practical tips, and organizing is a passion of mine, not because it just feels good, but because I have a lot going on at times, and without some level of organization, I have a harder time keeping track of all the balls in the air. And I've got the kids' schedules that differ from day to day. I've got corporate training work. I've got my coaching work, my health, my relationships, and time for me to just be away from the world. And I love to travel and do new things and see and meet new people and friends. So my life does feel full, but the most precious thing about it sometimes is that feeling of having enough time to actually take care of what's really important. And so what I've realized is that us humans just love to get our dopamine hits off of getting things done. And emails will often be one of these sneaky ways that we feel like work is getting done, but many times it's not. We also have projects that are done offline and the time spent in meetings with people that matter too. So we have to balance responsiveness with responsibilities. And we're not tasked to just answer emails, nor are we tasked to never reply to people's urgent emails or their requests. So managing our inbox is this art. And as someone who has had both thousands of unread emails and inbox zero for a long time, I've also come to see that deciding how to respond and how to manage your inbox is not as binary as you think. And it's one of the arts of productivity and effectiveness. And in the beginning, I thrived off of having the time to do every organizational thing I could think of. I had color coding, every rule option that was utilized with my inbox. It was the same. If I planned a trip, it would be these Excel spreadsheets, and I liked it. I liked having things in one place. I liked tracking things. And I was able to seamlessly respond to emails quickly. And I remember people saying that to me, like personal emails where people were like, when I write to you, I know you're going to get back to me. And I just love that. But then the demands of life increased. I went back to school full time. I was recruiting for jobs. I was meeting a lot of new people, a lot of new companies. And as someone who never paid anything late, I remember at that time I had a bill that I missed. And I was like horrified. I had a bill I missed. And I booked a flight even on the wrong day. It was in Bali. And we found out once we got to the airport. So this was an example of like how things had changed from someone who was super responsive, had lots of organizational tips and tools and technology things working for me. I am tracking so many things to the nth degree. I'm feeling so on top of it. I went to this place of missing a bill, right? Booking the wrong things. And I realized then that I needed to sharpen my organizational skills again. I needed to refresh them for where I was. And so oftentimes we're just going to increase the demands in our life, but we don't increase our capacity to handle those demands. And organization is a skill. Learning how to manage all the inflows is a skill, but it is something that you can get better at. It is something that you can refresh yourself in. It is something that actually works out if you work it. So I'm still not color coding everything or creating 1,000 rules in my inbox, but I do have a few strategies that I stick to and ways that I think about emails that are very helpful when I think about managing all the different documents and all the tasks that need to be done. So today I'm actually going to cover just a snippet of that, which is how to get to inbox zero if you're currently not there, and how to do it in a day. But before we get to the inbox zero strategies, I'm going to do something counterintuitive. I'm going to tell you why you don't need inbox zero. Listen, I love to see an empty inbox as much as the next person. But one of the reasons inbox zero may not be the best strategy is when you make the emails the priority, then they are the priority, and they might then become the priority over more important things. So unless you sit and you only watch your inbox all day long, you do have to let emails build up over time as you handle other things in life. Vacation is a prime time when inbox zero doesn't work. What if you go away and you stop looking at your emails? Some of you may not do this, so this could be a very hypothetical situation for you. If you're truly following inbox zero, you'd read your emails every single day, no matter where you are or what you're doing. What I prefer to do instead is to treat inbox zero as a set point for a set period of time that makes sense. So I prioritize whether or not I want to do inbox zero on certain days when I have a lot to be responding to in my inbox. But I do need to be on top of everything that comes in quickly. But I also have to choose between personal or professional inbox zero too. So we have a few choices that we're always making. I disable all my notifications because I try to do work and not be distracted. So having inbox zero set to the end of the day or a week or a month often works better for me. I'm also more relaxed about personal emails building up because I know what those emails are, and most of them are not as urgent. So if you're serious though about inbox zero and you have a lot of emails unread, if you've made the decision that the pain of having all of these unread emails is greater than the pain of going through the emails themselves, right? Maybe you're like, I'm not going to have a job if I don't get down to inbox zero, or I'm not going to have a house. I'm not going to have my reputation. I'm not going to be the person that I want to be. I'm not going to have my integrity. If those are your reasons and they're big enough, then you might want to be moving into that space of being like, okay, I'm going to inbox zero. But just know that it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you your time. It's going to cost you energy. It might even cost you a little bit of stress and anxiety as you lean in over this period of time and you start to work through all the things. Okay? So I'm just giving you a heads up because some of you are like, this is going to be so good. But the reason you haven't done it is because it doesn't always feel so good. So we just have to be the people that realize that we made a choice. We want this. The pain of not doing it is way more than the pain of doing it. And then it becomes an interesting and fun thing to do. All right. The first strategy is to do these 5 steps, and you'll need to block off a good several hours though, maybe several days, depending on how many unread emails you have to work through and how many different senders and subjects. So I find for myself, it's about 4 hours for every 1,000 personal emails. So if I have 250 personal emails, it should take me a solid hour to get through all of them. For work emails, it will differ based on how much junk email I get, how email heavy my communications are with other people. All right, so here are these 5 steps. So the first step is to just sort in chronological order. I think most of you have this set up that way, but I do that because usually what happens is that the most important things are brought up to the top of your inbox again. You might decide to sort by sender if you know, for example, that there is a person that you need to be getting back to immediately, and that's the most important thing right now. So take that with a grain of salt, but go in some kind of order and make sure you're already filtered on your unread emails. I don't think I can be more specific without knowing your specific situation and actually going through your inbox, which I have with people. But have some order, start with unread emails. And then the next thing is to just unsubscribe and delete all the emails you don't need or you want to receive, right? And just be clear which ones you're willing to just not get anymore and which ones add value. So if you are going through and you see that email and your first thought is, do I unsubscribe? If I do, I can first unsubscribe, then I can hit delete, right? After I select all those emails from those people. That's why when I do the chronological order, I start with that original sender. And when I go by sender, I end up looking and seeing, okay, if I'm going to unsubscribe to all of these emails, then I'm going to sort by that sender. And then I'm going to hit delete for all of those emails that I'm going to unsubscribe to. And then if there's obviously things you don't need to delete, the next step, even within that group, maybe it's some order information or something you just know is an important document, you just mark that as read. Anything you want to keep for reference. So you want to go through and actually mark all of those as read. And then as you go through one by one, right, sender by sender, because generally each of the different emails that you're going to go through are sender by sender, keep a notepad next to you. Make a list of any actions needed from your emails. Depending on what tools you have, you could drag the emails into your calendar. You can flag them to do. You could highlight them. You could star them. You could do all sorts of technological things that allow you to remember that this is an email you need to process or work through. But if you don't have that, you can keep a notepad next to you and then just write it down. And you're essentially reminding yourself of what needs to be done afterwards. But the goal right here isn't necessarily to work on all your emails. It is to get your emails unread. So let me just be very, 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 very clear with that, because some of you don't read your emails because you use it as a to-do list. And if you don't clear your to-do list every single day, which I don't think many of you do, you won't get to inbox zero. So I'm just telling you right here, right now, don't expect to be at inbox zero if you use your emails as a to-do list. If you're prepared to not use your emails as a to-do list, which means that you leave them unread so that you know you need to get to them, then you will likely be able to get to inbox zero. You could flag it and read it. You can mark it. You can put a task to it. You can put it in your calendar. You can do many things and read the email. But if you have to have it unread because it's a to-do, then you're not going to get to inbox zero unless you get through every single to-do every single day. Okay? So I just want to let you guys know that, because sometimes people are like, I don't understand, I'm not ever at inbox zero, but then they leave all their messages as unread so that it's work for them to do. So I just want to be clear on that. Okay. And then the fifth step is don't stop until they're done. This has to be like a challenge. It has to feel like you're going on a hike and you got to get to a certain point before something happens. So make sure you block off the time. Make sure you're willing to just keep going. If you take a break, come back to it. It should almost feel like this like healthy obsession that's just like, ooh, I'm going to get through this. Okay, the next one, the next one, the next one. The reason I say this is because otherwise it's just like, I don't want to do it. This is so time consuming. Why am I doing this now? I'm falling asleep, or I would rather be doing a million other things. But you've already said that it's way more important for you to do this than the pain of just being bored, or the pain of not wanting to do this right now because you have other things you'd like to do. You can handle these things. All right. So that is the thing. The biggest thing is you got to move with a sense of urgency and a sense of speed. Go as if you're going to win. You're going to win something once you get past the first 10 emails. You're going to win something when you get past the next 10 emails. Celebrate every email read as a win. The reason I say that, sometimes when you have a lot and you feel like you've been going through and deleting and marking things as read and unsubscribing and putting them into task lists and all of that, and it still looks like there's still so many emails left, you have to get to a point where you're celebrating every little thing, because 2 emails come in, right, at a time. 1 email comes in at a time, and they only ever come in like 1 or 2 at a time. So the same thing goes. If you're processing 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time, they still leave, right? You're still making progress. But if you stop because you don't think it's enough, you have to realize that the way the emails come in is just like that, little drips. So if you can do the little drips, but in a concentrated way, it's going to add up the same way all the emails came in and added up. So every time you start moving on these emails, you don't have to wait to get to the 0 point before you feel that part of you come alive that's like, I'm organizing. I am so organized. I am this person who organizes things. I'm on top of my stuff. So every time you delete, every time you unsubscribe, every time you write down a to-do, answer the email, make it a task, flag the thing, you're building the muscle for decision making again and again. You're building your identity again and again as that person that takes care of things, even if you don't love it. And when you come back to it, like the next day, and another email pops in after you've gotten down to 0, that neural pathway is built that says, this is just what I do. Emails don't stand a chance. See this email, do this thing. See this email, do that thing. There is no secret, right? Like all of this, we think, oh, well, you don't get the emails I get. Like this email is really tough. This email has like all these attachments. This email needs 5 back and forths to process and me to go look up another document and then figure something out. Everyone has some version of that hairy project, task, thing that needs like 5 different steps before you can even answer the email. Drafts sitting open, they exist for people, right? So we are not special in this. So there's no magic secret that exists because someone just happens to have inboxes that are light. So if you have an inbox and you have work and people email you, there's no secret to getting to inbox 0 other than working through it. Yet most people don't do things because they don't feel like it or they don't want to. Not because they don't know that they can do it, but they just literally don't feel like doing it. So pain is temporary. The pain of doing something, the pain of just being in the weeds or having to dig up something else, the pain of switching from whatever you were doing into this next thing, the pain of stopping what you were doing so you can focus on this thing. There's always something, right? So you could maybe not be someone who works well with blocks of time, but if you just keep coming back to it over and over and over again in the course of the day, you'll eventually create lots of blocks of time through little things. So just remember that pain of moving into it becomes temporary. But the pride from doing you thought what you couldn't do is forever. The pride of knowing that you just are a boss that figured out how to do something that you don't love to do is even better. It's not called personal growth if you like it, if you want to do it. I kind of like that because it reminds us that we all have an edge that we struggle with. We all have some place that feels hard. And for some of you, this inbox thing is a breeze and you're like, I have so much identity wrapped around getting my inbox to zero. Or maybe you have a lot of anxiety around emails, so you like always are processing them. Or maybe you just have done it so long that you're like, of course the inbox is always at zero. That this is not your edge. This is not your growth. Maybe letting an email stack could be your growth. But for other people, this might be the thing, right? So no wrong or right or better or worse. Just notice that this is more about doing something you didn't think you could do that you actually want to do. And this kind of tolerance to doing things you don't love is part of living life, right? Getting up in the morning doesn't feel like a dream come true when you're tired, but you do. And you have to at some point. It's our job. And the only thing standing between us and loving things in our life is knowing that maybe we don't have to have that warm and fuzzy feeling for us to do what we know we want to do. And that's sometimes what we want to do is to finally do the hard stuff. So there's always a time and a place to learn how to push. And there's a time and place to learn when to pull back. No one is ever in push mode, get it all done forever. No one is always in pull it back, rest forever. You need to rest. You need to recover. And you want to be appreciative of the time that you have in both places. So I see emails as this connection point, a connection to the world, a connection to the things we want, a connection to people around us, ideas, places, and we get to manage the in and outflow. And when we feel defeated by this thing called technology, which is this energetic idea of connection turned into something that we can start to utilize, that's supposed to help us. So if we feel defeated by this thing, which is supposed to help us, we can actually start to question, what are we doing? And why do you actually feel this way? And we weren't meant to be on machines 24/7. We weren't meant to work all the time on our digital devices, yet we can. Know that as much as it is a feat to answer and to respond to every little thing constantly, it isn't the most important thing. So use it as a tool. Don't make it this big, heavy thing. Reduce, eliminate, delegate what you can, and then the rest is just part of the life where you work on improving it just a little bit every single time. And maybe you get to inbox zero and you go back to 80. But you were at 250 before, and that's still progress. That's still a win, and I want you guys to celebrate that. Maybe you don't get to inbox zero, but you get to 100 or 200 fewer emails than you had before. That's a win. Maybe you don't have enough emails, and you're wondering, why would anyone be trying to get down to zero because it's so easy? If that's for you, well, congratulations for listening through this, maybe just out of pure curiosity. But either way, it's not about the emails. It's about where you are, what you want, and the process of achieving and being curious about the things that are important to you and why it's important to you. So for anyone trying to get to inbox zero, listen to this podcast as you start working through your emails. Start with the easy things first, if you must, then go for the hard ones if you want to do it that way, or vice versa. But celebrate and come back and then celebrate some more. And you use technology. Remember that. Remember who you are. You are the user of this, my friend, not the other way around. So start getting on the phone more, or use other communication devices, or stop sending little bits back and forth the way you are. If emails don't make sense to you, if it seems to be working against you rather than for you, Schedule time to process emails. And I'm not saying we're these rigid robots that are like, at noon every day I check my email. Like, you can have buckets of time that in your brain you're like, okay, at this point in time I want to check my emails, but not before then. At this point in time I want to make sure I check in again. Just know that you do need time to do this, especially if you want to keep up with it after you get down to zero. And it feels good to actually have the time to organize things the way you want them to be, because it's a bit of that little bit of control you can have in your own routine, your own schedule, and just varying it up and doing it your way. I'm giving you what has worked for me, and obviously there's many different ways I've used Inbox Zero and done Inbox Zero in the past, because every system is different and every tool is different, and personal and professional emails will be two different ways of thinking about it, and your brain kind of shifts into two different gears. But most of all, I want you to know that you are not alone. We're all doing these things together at whatever level you're at however many things you have going on in your life. If you want to stay connected to the world, if you want to use this beautiful thing called technology to your advantage, this is a good time for you to master it, for you to think about how to make it work for you, how to make it more fun, how to make it feel like a lighter, cleaner energy so it doesn't weigh you down so much. All right? Okay. So if you like this blend of practicality, of mindset, you will love coaching, where we get things done and we have fun, or make it more fun and more simple while doing it. We figure out the hard things and how to get yourself out of the place where it feels like you can't, you will never, and it's not going to happen for you. So if you want to move forward, if you want to actually love where you're at while figuring out what's next and doing the thing practically, making moves and living your life and seeing the progress, you can schedule a consultation at www.manson.com/contact. And you can learn more about working together and how to join this community of like-minded, open, and curious seekers. And right now, we are going to be teaching upon how to ask for what you need. There is a spiritual component to it in terms of energetic work and how you ask the universe for what you need, but there's also a tangible, actionable, practical human part of it that we're also going to be covering. Because when you think about it, we're often trying to get the things we want in life through the people we work with, through the jobs we have, through the relationships, through our living situations. It is always about, how do I have the most peace, abundance, fun, enjoyment while I'm here? So we're going to cover that topic. You definitely want to join. And when we do these topics, these are group trainings and coaching containers. You will have private coaching one-on-one with me. So it is a hybrid experience where you want to expand your vision of what's possible. This is a 12-month program where you will get the community, the individualized guidance, retreats, and we help you build your confidence, trust your intuition, make decisions that you love, and actually take actions and next steps on all of those decisions. So again, you can go to mayamson.com/contact to schedule a consultation and to learn more. And I also have a free masterclass that you can check out now. If you want to access it, it's all about figuring out what's next, what to do, depending on what phase you're in, whether you're changing careers, whether you're burning out, whether you're trying to get your health in order, whether you're trying to figure out what is next. There is a specific order in which we move through these phases, and you're going to want to learn where it is that you are now so that you know where to focus your time on what's next. So you can go to the show notes, and there's a link there to access it today. All right, my friends, that is it for this week. I hope you have an amazing one. Get your inboxes to 0, perhaps. That will be the challenge. All right, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.